The Element. The Element is by Ken Robinson, and you probably recognize the name Ken Robinson from his extraordinarily successful TED Talk. The TED Talk that he released is called How Schools Kill Creativity. It's had over 30 million views on TED, which is just astounding. Now, the man is extraordinarily smart, brainy, all of those fabulous things, and he's really funny as well. So if you haven't watched that TED clip, it's TED.com. Go have a look and look for Ken Robinson. He'll come up probably straight away because it's the most popular talk on TED. Now, I was really fortunate and I got to see Ken Robinson speak at a convention about 5 or 6 years ago now, where I picked up this book called The Element. And what he talks about is really that beautiful space of when your abilities and your passions meet and somebody pays you for them. So that's really, I call it the sweet spot. That's about, when you can actually live your passion in your work and get paid well for it as well, because we all want that, don't we? We all want to be successful and be rewarded for our abilities. So Ken's book is just amazing. I picked this up after I saw him speak because I was so inspired by what he said. He's a real creativity advocate, and he talks a lot about the education system as well. He talks about it in this book, he talks about it in his TED Talk, and he generally talks about it in all his keynotes as well. So he's a real strong advocate for changing the education system so that it brings out more passion in people. And absolutely, his message resonates with me because that's something that I believe in strongly as well. That unfortunately, and Ken talks about that in this book, that this current schooling system is geared up only for left-brained people, and the right-brain stuff gets left behind. So you look at the curriculum, and he talks about that in this book, and he also talks about it in his TED Talk. When you look at the curriculum at any school, arts are right down the bottom. We've got maths and English up the top, all extraordinarily important, but by discounting the other side of your brain, it's actually leaving us in a place where people aren't able to be as successful as they absolutely could and not getting the joy out of life that they could. So he talks a lot about that in this book. It's called The Element, How Finding Your Passion Changes Everything. And it really is a great book that if you're having a struggle with identifying what your passion is and your purpose in life, pick this one up and have a bit of a read through, because it really does help you establish the fact that your purpose is your purpose and the passions that you have are unique to you. They don't have to be the same as everyone else. You don't have to sit on a mountaintop and meditate on your navel to figure out what your passions are. Sometimes your passions are exactly what you're doing right now. You just need to accept that. I know that this book really helped me do that. It took a long time though. I'm not going to lie to you. When I first read this book, I read it and thought it was amazing. It wasn't until a number of years later that the messages actually really stuck, and really sunk in. And after I watched his TED Talk again, I reread this one and I was probably more ready for it. Let me read one of the quotes out of this book, because I think this quote really does sum up the messages that he's trying to get across in this book. It says, "Connecting with people who share the same passions affirms that you're not alone, that there are others like you, and that while many might not understand your passion, some do. It doesn't matter whether you like the people as individuals or even the work that they do. It's perfectly possible that you don't. What matters first is having validation for the passion that you have in common." What he talks about in here is finding your tribe. He goes through a number of different steps about establishing your pattern, and one of them is finding your tribe. Now, you might have read Tribes by Seth Godin, which is an awesome book as well. So if you haven't read that one, I might review that one down the track as well, because I've read that one and I love that one too. You can see that I love a lot of these books, so it's really fantastic. That quote though for me really says that You know, your passion is unique to you, and there are people out there that will understand it, and some won't, and that's okay. So I have a real passion for leadership at all levels, and I really believe that people everywhere can be a leader within their own skills and their own competencies and their own passions, and that we shouldn't have to try and push them outside of this zone. This book really talks about that as well. It's about finding your natural passions and not trying to be somebody that you're not. There's a great Einstein quote that says, "Everyone is intelligent, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll think that it's stupid." And really, that is such a powerful quote, I think, for how we try and slot people in to a particular area that they might not be natural in. This book explores your natural passions and really goes through a great system on finding those. So I really recommend that you have a look at The Element by Ken Robinson. If you're struggling to find your passion and your purpose, he's a great place to start. So, The Element. Grab it, have a read of it. It's a really easy read as well because Ken's style is just great. He's got a lot of humor in his style and tells stories about very famous people. So he uses stories throughout this book, which helps you find your own passion. So have a look at it. It's great. I really loved it. And a lot of the stuff that's in a lot of the programming that I do in my own writing is inspired by Ken and a lot of other people that I read. So thanks very much, and keep reading and stay inspiring.